Hello, I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this series of mini free animal communications. This series that I've been doing since about, I don't know, I think it was March 20th. I think was looking and seeing I had made 30 new videos in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's been a lot. Been doing this animal communication series. It was really born out of the shelter-in-place orders that started to go into place in March here in the US. And I really, seeing everything change so dramatically in the world, I really wondered what the animals' perspective was on what was happening. And so that's how this series really came into being. And today I wanted to bring in a special friend of mine. Let me see if I can get his picture up here. This is my kitty named Lucky. And it's not a great picture. It's actually, I took a picture of a physical photograph. This picture is from probably about 1985, 86. Lucky was my childhood kitty. I grew up in a family that they were really more interested in dogs. And I think somehow I managed to talk them into giving me a cat, getting me a cat. And so Lucky was my first kitty. I was about 8 years old when Lucky came to live with me. And he lived to be about 15, and he was just a very special kitty in my life. So he was pinging me that he had some stuff to share. And so in a minute here, we will just jump in and do some communication with Lucky, see what he would like to share with us. If you're joining me on Zoom, there should be a bar along the bottom with a button that says chat. If you click on that, if you have questions for Lucky, you can type them in there. If you're joining me on Facebook Live, you have questions for Lucky, just go ahead and type them into the chat, into the comments there. All right, so I'm just going to take a moment to get quiet and tune into Lucky. It's actually been quite a while, I think, since I had a proper communication session with him, so I'm interested to hear what he'll have to say. What I feel come forward first is this real gentleness in his energy. And so, yeah, in this picture here, I think this was taken, I'm not sure where this picture was taken. It doesn't look like the backyard of where I lived in Colorado when I was a kid, but Lucky would sometimes, he would often go camping with us. This doesn't happen very often with cats, right? That they're interested in camping, but he would go with us, and he would always stick by me. And what he's showing is this real gentle way of walking through nature. Is that something, is that like a metaphor for something, or can you tell me more what you mean by that, Lucky? Yeah, there is a sense of like literally gently kind of walking over the earth and being aware of, all the different life forms or creatures or plants that you're walking across. Like this is all part of a greater living being. Yeah, he's showing the earth and like all these different mechanisms or operations, ways of life that go on the earth. Like I see all these ants doing their thing, and then there's the birds doing their thing over here. There's the farmers over here doing their thing. He's like, there's all the individuals make up, all the individuals and the individual processes. It's like I'm including plants, rocks, everything about the earth is individual, but it's also one whole. Yeah, there's this certain sense too of, what we're doing to others, what we're doing to other creatures, other plants, the way we're treating them does affect us. it affects the whole, and therefore as a subsequent way, it affects us maybe indirectly. Yeah. Hmm. So he's showing me this situation where, people are doing certain things, maybe to other people or to nature, to earth, to animals, where the humans think it's no big deal, like, oh, what I do doesn't really matter. And his message to us is that all of our actions do really matter and have a ripple effect that goes out. He's like, you could call this karma, you could call it, he's like, you could view it in that way. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about, but there is an effect that we have on each other, that we have on the earth. Is there a way that you feel like we could, do a better job with how we relate to each other or animals, nature? He says, well, it has a lot to do with awareness. A lot of people in our society just aren't aware. They're really, he's showing me, sometimes I have situations where I'm doing a walk with somebody, and they're just talking, 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 and there's no awareness of what's going on around. Yeah, he's showing me, I used to do a lot of hiking with a couple different groups, and yeah, so like when I go out and hike, I really want to be present and noticing nature, but some of these groups, it was more about the human talking connection. And he's saying, remember, when you were going on some of those hikes, like you would be walking, 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 and talking, talking, talking with the people there, and you'd look up and you'd have no idea where exactly you were or how you got there. He's saying, like, our constant need to be talking is actually part of what pulls us out of having awareness. So, Lucky, is it kind of like we just need to be quiet? And he feels like there is a time for humans to be doing their kind of gabbing, blah, 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 blah thing. But his advice is that that time is really not when you're outside in nature, that we will get a lot more um, nourishment or refreshment from our nature adventures if we're actually not being so caught up in our talky world, but paying attention. Thank you, Lucky. I wonder, let me check real quick if we have any questions for Lucky. Lucky, I guess we haven't talked for a while. I'm not sure if you're incarnated right now or doing an afterlife thing, but I wonder what your perspective is on what's happening with the coronavirus and such right now. Well, he is showing me that he is incarnated right now. Um, he's showing me himself as a younger a kitty. I'm seeing, like a kitten size cat that it's a gray kitty. He's showing me there's a couple boys in the household where he is. Yeah, I feel like they're between ages 5 and 10. I see these two boys. Do you want to show me more about where you are or what's happening in coronavirus land where you are, Lucky? Well, the boys have definitely been home more. Yeah, I'm not getting like a precise location, but it feels like it's not in the US, that it would be more kind of towards Europe, where he is. Yeah, so he is showing there's been like this more playfulness in the house where he's been, because the boys have been there. He's showing, yeah, the parents have been a little stressed out. They're working from home. The boys are young enough that they need a lot of monitoring, and he's showing this, like, the mom and dad kind of trading off, taking care of the boys, and then one of them working. He says there's been a lot of kind of discombobulation and shakeup in the house where he's been, but he's actually really been enjoying it because it gives him more time to hang out with the boys. And Lucky, like you're showing me, it feels like you're very, very young, like physically young where you are. Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's been within the last 6 months that he's joined this family. Yeah, he feels excited about this particular incarnation. So Lucky, I'm wondering if there's anything else that you want to share with us with regards to the pandemic or what's happening in the world today. I keep hearing the word joy, joy, joy. Like he was saying, like, part of my mission with you, like I have talked to Lucky before, and he was part of our pet project when I was practicing animal communication. We did sessions with Lucky. Um, yeah, there's this. Hmm. Okay, I feel like I kind of missed what you said there. Could you show me again? Yeah, again, this sense of joy that he's really wanting to bring to these kids that he's with. He's saying, he had joy was part of his mission with me when he lived with me, but there were other things that he talked about that were my mission or his mission with me as well. But right now he really enjoys this first part of incarnation with a really young kind of physical body. There's so much agility and kind of craziness you can get away with in a younger body is what Lucky's saying. And everybody thinks you're cute and gives you attention, and it's part of how I'm really drawing these boys in, with this concept of creating lots of joy in their lives. Wow, thanks, Lucky. I really wish you all the best of luck with those boys. I'm sure this is old hat for you, but it's cool to hear how you're really enjoying this first part of the incarnation. All right, so we've got a question for Lucky here. Lucky, how do you think we can create more connection with people and perhaps ourselves while we're on lockdown, so that we can ultimately be more present and aware? Yeah, what I'm hearing is it's kind of individual. Um, yeah, Lucky, is there something more specific you need? It almost feels like you're not interested in that question. Can you tell me more, Lucky? Yeah, he's saying it's individual. So like something that would create more connection for one person actually would not for another. So what he's showing me is like an example of something that happened to me yesterday, where he's saying, like, for some people actually having a person to connect with, like physically in person, is what they need. But like for me, connecting with some people on Zoom yesterday was actually the kind of connection I needed. So it's more about tuning in to what you as an individual feel like you might need. Um, and he's also showing, sometimes we need more connection with ourselves in order to be able to connect better with people outside of ourselves, like people who are separate from us. So how do you feel like they could do that, having more connection with themselves? Well, he's pointing to the belly energy, and he's like, Tracy, do you feel how tight you were holding your belly there? He's like, a lot of this, being able to connect has to do with how your energy in your belly is held. And he's saying most people just aren't very consciously aware of that. Maybe they know how to operate it on an innate kind of level to get what they want, but he's showing that when the energy in our bellies is more relaxed and solid rather than having this gripping kind of tightness. Yeah, he was pointing, he was like, feel how tight your belly is, Tracy? That's not so great for connecting. Like when we have that tension or that gripping, that it's harder in our bellies. Do you have any suggestions for how people might be able to become more aware of the energy in their bellies, or to let that tightness or grasping kind of drop? Well, he's saying that's really individual too. He would encourage people to be aware of how the energy in their belly feels during certain activities. It might be for some people, like if they go running really hard, that helps to um, engage the belly in a more helpful way. Or he's like, some people, maybe they need to have sex, and that like kind of gets the energy flowing in their bellies. Or maybe they need to go out and have a really good laugh with a good friend. Um, there are a lot of different ways that belly energy works, he says, and uh, just even starting to pay attention as you're doing different things. Oh, how does my belly feel right now? And he's saying it's more than just like, oh, I feel pain in my stomach, or wow, I've got some gas from digestion. It's more like on an energetic level. So if you tune into your belly, like as you feel it, like, do you feel anger coming forward? Do you feel rage? Do you feel joy? Do you feel sensuality? Like there's all these different um, emotions and different kinds of energies that are in the belly there that he wants us to become more aware of. And he says it is just a matter of paying attention. Like that might seem really simple what I'm saying, but for a lot of people that is difficult at first. They're so used to having your awareness spread into all these different places that to bring it back to your belly while you're doing that can be challenging for some people. Okay, thanks, Lucky. I feel like that's pretty helpful. So we're getting kind of close to the end of our time here, Lucky. I wonder if there's anything else you want to be sure to share with us or me, or anything else you'd like to say before we end our session today. Yeah, so what he's showing me is, I don't know if those of you who are watching are familiar with Amma, Amma. She's the hugging saint. You know, she goes around and hugs people to uplift their energy or love them. Um, he really would like to see more of that kind of energy, this kind of loving, hugging, embracing energy going out to the world between people. He's showing we tend to get, he's showing like capitalism and the way our economies and stuff in the world are set up. it really creates a lot of competition and rigidity and like this really masculine, forceful kind of like energy that we feel like we have to engage with in order to survive. And he's showing Amma as this just beautiful kind of mother-like energy that she's sending out into the world. And yeah, he's really asking for even more of this beautiful feminine energy. And he's saying it's not just about women, like men have this feminine energy as well, like they can emit it. And Lucky would really like to see more of that kind of energy in the world than our always pushing and masculine forcefulness that seems to really dominate our world these days. Thank you so much, Lucky. So thanks again so much for everyone who has joined me here today. This series has been really, really fun for me to do. And yeah, we're coming towards the end of April, and as of today, I do have all the rest of the slots for this animal communication series filled. So I'm really interested to talk to our last week worth of animals next week, and who knows what'll come forward. It should be pretty interesting. So again, thank you so much for joining me here today, and until next time, take care and be well.